It was a normal Monday morning, and I was feeling tired. I had just finished a long weekend full of studying and homework. As usual, I woke up early, made a quick breakfast, and left my house to catch the bus to college. The weather was cold, and I could see my breath in the air as I walked down the street. I didn't like the mornings. I always felt sleepy and wasn't in the mood to talk to anyone, but that day was different. Something unexpected happened. I got to the bus stop and saw the usual people. There were the older women in thick coats, the tired workers holding their coffee cups, and some students like me waiting for the bus to take us to college. I stood in line, looking down at my phone, checking my messages. I wasn't really paying attention to the people around me. Then I heard a voice. It wasn't loud or strange, just a normal voice. "Hey, is this the bus to the university?" I looked up, and a guy was standing next to me. He was a little shorter than me and had a friendly smile. He was wearing a red jacket, jeans, and sneakers. He looked like a student, just like me. I smiled back. "Yes, it is," I said, surprised that he was talking to me. I wasn't used to talking to strangers, especially not in the morning. "Great," he said with a smile. "I'm new here. I just moved to this city. My name's Alex. What's yours?" I didn't know why, but I felt like talking to him. "I'm John," I said, holding out my hand. We shook hands. "I'm glad I met you, John," Alex said. "It's always a little scary being new in a big city, you know?" I nodded. "I understand. I'm not new here, but it can still feel strange sometimes." We talked for a few more minutes while waiting for the bus. I learned that Alex had moved to this city from a small town to study at the same college I was attending. He didn't know anyone here, and everything felt new to him. I felt a little bad for him. It must be hard to move to a new place and not have any friends. The bus arrived, and we both got on. We didn't sit together, but we exchanged a few more words before we sat down. I didn't think much of it after that. I just focused on my phone and my thoughts. But something about Alex's friendly smile and easy conversation stuck in my mind. The next day, I saw Alex again at the bus stop. He waved at me and I waved back. This time we talked a little longer. We started chatting about our classes and how difficult some of them were. Alex told me that he was studying business, and I told him I was studying engineering. We talked about how hard it was to understand some of the things we were learning and how we were both trying to find ways to make studying easier. Every day after that, we saw each other at the bus stop. We started talking more and more. Sometimes we talked about school, and other times we just talked about random things. Alex had a lot of funny stories about his small town, and I liked hearing about them. I told him about my life in the city, my family, and my friends. One day as we were talking on the bus, Alex asked me, "Hey, do you want to study together sometime?" I was a little surprised. "Study together? Sure, I guess. We don't have the same classes, but we could still study some of the same things." "Great," Alex said, smiling. "I'm not very good at studying alone. It's always better when you have someone to help you." We agreed to meet at the library the next afternoon after our classes. It was the beginning of something new. I didn't know it yet, but from that day, Alex and I would become really good friends. The next afternoon, I went to the library. I wasn't sure what to expect. I had never really studied with anyone before. I usually liked studying by myself, but I was open to trying something new. When I got to the library, Alex was already there. He was sitting at a table looking through his books. He smiled when he saw me and waved. "Hey, John, over here." I walked over and sat down next to him. We both took out our books, and the studying began. At first, we were both a little quiet. We worked on our own assignments, but every now and then we would ask each other questions. If I didn't understand something, Alex would explain it to me. If he didn't understand something, I would help him. It was nice to have someone to study with. It made studying feel less boring and less stressful. After a few hours, we both needed a break. We decided to go get some coffee from the cafe inside the library. "How's it going?" I asked as we walked to the cafe. "Are you understanding everything?" Not really, Alex said, laughing. I'm terrible at this stuff, but it's easier when we study together. You explain things better than I do. I smiled. Thanks, but I think you're doing better than me. I still don't get half of the things in my textbooks. We both laughed and got our coffees. We sat down at a small table near the window and just talked for a while. It was nice to have someone to talk to, someone who understood what I was going through. From that day on, Alex and I studied together almost every day. We met at the library after our classes and spent hours working on assignments, talking about our professors, and making jokes about the crazy things we saw in class. As we spent more time together, we became closer friends. I started looking forward to seeing Alex every day. We would talk about everything: school, life, movies, books, and even our dreams for the future. We started to share personal things we didn't tell anyone else. One day, while we were sitting on the bus after our study session, Alex looked at me and said, "You know, I'm really glad we met, John." I smiled. Me too. It's been great having someone to study with. No, it's more than that, Alex said. You've become a really good friend. I don't have many friends here yet. It's hard to make friends in a new city, but you've made it easier for me. I didn't know what to say at first. I felt the same way. It was strange how quickly we had become friends. We hadn't known each other for long, but it felt like we had been friends for years. I'm glad we met too, Alex, I finally said. You're a great friend. We sat in comfortable silence for the rest of the bus ride. It was nice to know that I wasn't the only one who felt this way. Alex and I had become more than just study partners. We had become true friends. The next few months passed quickly. We continued studying together, talking every day, and hanging out after our classes. We started to do things outside of college, like going to the movies, visiting museums, and trying new restaurants in the city. The more time we spent together, the closer we became. One evening, after a long day of classes and studying, I sat alone in my room. I was thinking about Alex as usual. We had spent the whole day together playing video games in his apartment after finishing our homework. We had fun, and I laughed a lot. But something felt different inside me that night. I couldn't stop thinking about how much I enjoyed being with Alex. We had become so close over the past months. He was no longer just a study partner or a friend. I realized that I was starting to feel something more, but I wasn't sure what it was. I thought back to all the times we hung out. I waited for him outside of class just to see him. I would invite him to lunch, and we'd sit together talking for hours. Sometimes we would meet to play video games, and I always looked forward to those moments. We chatted late into the night on the phone, texting about everything and nothing. I was starting to enjoy spending every free moment with him. A few days later, we were hanging out at Alex's apartment again, eating pizza and playing our usual video games. As I looked at him, smiling and laughing, I realized how much I cared about him. I wanted to tell him, but I was still too afraid. We continued playing the game, but I couldn't shake the feeling in my chest. It was becoming harder to hide what I felt. Every time I saw Alex, I felt like I wanted to be closer to him, not just as a friend, but as something more. One weekend, Alex invited me to his house. We spent the whole day playing games, watching movies, and just talking about everything. When the day was almost over, we decided to walk outside to get some fresh air. The evening sky was beautiful, and we talked about how we both loved the view of the city at night. We stood there for a moment just looking at each other. The air felt different. For the first time, I felt like I could truly be myself around him. This was more than friendship. It was something deeper. But life, as it often does, had other plans for us. One day, Alex told me that his family was moving to another city. I didn't want to believe it at first. "What, you're leaving?" I asked, shocked. "Yeah," Alex said, looking down. "My parents decided to move to a new city for work, and they want me to go with them." I felt a wave of sadness rush over me. I didn't want him to leave. We had just started something beautiful, something special, and now it was ending too soon. The days that followed were hard. I tried not to show how sad I felt, but I knew it was inevitable. Alex's last day in the city was coming soon, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. On his last day, we decided to spend the day together doing everything we loved. We went to an amusement park and rode all the roller coasters. We laughed and screamed like kids, not caring about anything else. Afterward, we went to the cinema to watch a movie we'd been wanting to see for weeks. We ate popcorn and shared jokes like we always did. It was the best day, but at the same time, it was the saddest. I didn't want to say goodbye. I didn't want to think about how far away he would be, how we wouldn't see each other every day anymore. As the day ended, we sat together in the park, watching the sunset. "I'm really going to miss you, John," Alex said softly, looking at me. "I wish I didn't have to leave." "Me too," I said, feeling a lump in my throat. "It's going to be hard without you here." But even though I felt sad, I knew we would keep in touch. We promised to call each other, text every day, and visit when we could. Our friendship had grown into something deeper, and I knew it wouldn't end just because of distance. "Promise me we'll still be friends no matter what," I said. "I promise," Alex said, squeezing my hand. We stood up and hugged. It was a long, tight hug. I didn't want to let go, but eventually we had to. The next day, Alex left. I stayed at the bus station for a long time after he left, thinking about everything we had shared. I was sad, but I also knew that our bond was something special. We weren't just friends anymore. We had become something more, and no matter where he was, that connection would stay. Over the next few months, Alex and I kept in touch. We talked every day, just like we used to. We shared our lives, our struggles, and our dreams. I missed him, but I knew that no matter how far away he was, we would always be there for each other. Our friendship and something more would last forever. And that's how I learned that sometimes, even when life takes people away, the feelings and memories you share with someone never really go away. They stay with you no matter where you are. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. See you soon.